It's Roy, Anthony, Southern Soul.
Do you want to hang out with the hottest Southern Soul star in the country? Well, here's your chance to win a meet and hang with Roy Chip Anthony in Charleston. You'll get to enjoy a luxurious 5-star hotel stay Labor Day weekend, 2 concert tickets with all-access passes, and transportation to and from the event. Plus, you'll get to choose between a round-trip plane ticket or a $500 gift card. To register, all you have to do is follow at least 3 of Roy Chip Anthony's social media accounts and email a screenshot to mohitsweepstakes@gmail.com. That's MOHITZSWEEPSTAKESS@gmail.com. Don't wait. Register today and get ready for the best weekend of your life. Labor Day weekend. We'll see you in Charleston with Roy Chip Anthony. This is the G Podcast with your host, Tommy B.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It is episode 188, the bonus insert. We don't normally do these, I'm here to tell you, but different times call for different measures, right? Harold Michael Harvey, would you say?
Man, we woke up this morning in America in rarefied, historic air. We've never been here to a place where we've got a former president who has been indicted 4 times on criminal charges.
Yeah.
3 federal indictments and 1 state indictment.
Yep. It is. It's a different time in America, man. We're in a different world. And I've got, again, you've heard his voice, political analyst Harold Michael Harvey is here. I've got to say, DA Willis delivered. And I was probably a little bit critical in terms of the amount of time it took her to do this. But when you see, 71 pages?
91 or 95 pages.
Yeah. It's thorough.
Very, very thorough. Yes.
Not only is it thorough, it includes 19 people. So it's Trump, 18 others. And when the question came up, whether or not she was going to charge everybody at the same time, emphatically, yes, I am. And, I want to get into that as we get into the conversation, but I want to go ahead and frame this. And the other thing is, Harold Michael Harvey, the irony in all this is that, Rudy Giuliani is a part of this. And as you know, he used RICO in New York as a prosecutor quite a bit to take down organized crime. So, he has used it. Now he's defending himself in a RICO situation. So it's going to be interesting because all these folks are going to be charged at the same time. This is Trump's 4th criminal charge this year. He's facing 91. This is individually. Trump is facing 91 criminal charges, 4 cases, 34 charges in Manhattan over the hush money with the porn star, 40 charges with the special counsel in Mar-A-Largo, the documents, 4 charges with the special counsel Smith in over January 6th, of course, and now these 13 charges over the election interference. And just a few points, and I'm just going to throw it to you because I really want your perspective on this, and I appreciate you taking the time today to come in and do this. DA Willis is using racketeering charges to outline what she's calling, and they're calling, a criminal enterprise. The chief of staff, which he has not been indicted, Mark Meadows, this is the first time he's actually been indicted out of all this. He's also facing charges. And the other thing I want you to help us out with is the timing, because Willis and Smith, they're running close. Mm-hmm. When she said she wants to try to, go to trial in 6 months, it's tight. And so I do want to ask you the question, I want you to, touch upon this, the fact that how are they going to do this, all within the next year. And also the indictment touches on Coffee County. And you and I had a conversation about Coffee County because there's some misinformation about where Coffee County is. So, we had a conversation about that. But again, Harold Michael Harvey's here, and go to haroldmichaelharvey.com. Learn all things about Harold Michael Harvey, his essays, his books, his sport, avid sportsman. As you can tell, if you're watching the YouTube channel, you can see, he's in his attire. I also see your Justice in the Round T-shirt, which is one of his books. So it's going to be interesting to see. I hope it doesn't turn out that way, but maybe we should hope it turns out that way. But anyway, what else should we know about this new case?
Well, one of the first things we have to understand is that the process to justice it is a long and winding road.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it takes a long time to get to justice, and so Fani Willis coming into office as she was I guess the first elected Black female prosecutor, maybe in Georgia. I know she was the first one in Fulton County.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as she takes the oath of office, the second allegedly perfect phone call was made. Donald Trump calling into the Secretary of State of Georgia, asking him to find just enough votes by one that will put him over the top and swing the Georgia Electoral College to him, and thereby enabling him to remain in office for another 4 years. And so she had a dilemma. What do I do? So she set up a grand jury to investigate what had taken place during the election of 2020. And that was about a year-long investigation. And so the special grand jury took its time and interviewed about 75 witnesses, and they wrote a report and said that multiple people should be indicted for what took place surrounding the 2020 election here in Georgia. And so then Fani took that information and impaneled another jury, a grand jury, to determine if charges should be brought against anyone and who should those charges be and what should the charges be. So, you know, all of this took time in the process. So here we are in August 2023, about a half a year away from, we're about a year and a half away out from the 2024 election. Mm-hmm. And we're saying that we're all crunched for time. Well, you know, justice has to go through the process. It's a sifting process, and we have to get it right if we're going to preserve our system of justice and American democracy. So the fact that it seems as if she is butting heads with the federal prosecution of Jack Smith. Well, you know, Jack was appointed late in this process. The Justice Department initially did not look into what had taken place on January the 6th, 2021. And so it was a little slow to move. It was slow then also to investigate the allegations coming out of Georgia and coming out of Arizona and Michigan that there had been some attempts to tamper with the electoral college votes in those states. And so he received an appointment as a special prosecutor late in the process. And here again, he went through the painstaking steps of investigating and doing the research and figuring out what laws, if any, have been broken and who the individuals are that may have violated our criminal code. And then he comes out with his indictment. But in between all of that, we learn about the former president was hoarding confidential or secret documents in his home in Westminster and in MAR-A-LARGO, his summer home, and so then that became the subject of another investigation and a source of additional charges. So, you know, so just sort of put this time thing in perspective. Mm-hmm. It just takes time to bake a cake.
Well, let me jump in for a minute. And how do you rank the severity of these four? Like from the most severe of the four?
I would have to say Georgia because of state action, and then secondly would be the indictment that came down the other week in Washington.
January 6th.
January 6th, yes.
And one of the things that, well, a couple of things that are coming out of Georgia is he can't be pardoned for a state crime if he's found guilty. The other thing is, explain is it mandatory minimum?
There's a mandatory minimum sentence under the RICO statute of 5 years, which means that he could anyone convicted under RICO could get more than 5 years. Mm-hmm. But coming to the door, there's a mandatory 5-year minimum that you have to serve before you can be considered for parole.
Wow. So I've been saying, I'm the conspiracy theory guy. I've been saying two things that could possibly happen. One, he's convicted, and in the majority of all these cases, found guilty, and they basically cut a overriding deal with him that says, okay, you can either go to jail or you can agree to get out of politics completely. And they basically almost exile him. We don't want to, you cannot talk about politics. You can't get involved in politics. You have to dissolve your ownership in the social media. You can talk about anything entertainment related, your business ventures, but you can't talk about anything endorsing. You have to get out of politics. That's one way. And the other way I see this whole thing going down, and it's unfortunate because of the aggressive nature. When the DC judge said to him, one, you can't witness tamper, and you can't break any laws. He's done both. Wouldn't you say he did it with by stepping in Georgia and telling the former lieutenant governor, hey, you can't, you shouldn't testify. He broke a law by doing that in Georgia, and he also witness tampered. It was like a 2-in-1. So my point is, the number two thing I was saying is it's going to turn into Amon Bundy. He's going to, David Koresh. He's going to, get his Second Amendment folks together. And next thing you know, it's militia time, regardless, he's just going to, how do you say it? You know what I'm talking about. You remember Waco.
I do. Yes.
And and what's going on with Amon Bundy. I think those are the two things that could possibly happen. So with that said, what do you think's at stake in all this?
Well, let me sort of distinguish something that you talked about, and that is, if that was a plea deal, and one of the options on the table was that you couldn't run for public office again, I think that's a legitimate proposal to a criminal defendant in the situation that Donald John Trump finds himself in today in Georgia. But then that part about you can't talk about politics, well, you can't restrict his First Amendment right. But
let me ask you this though, because he will be considered a convicted felon.
Yeah, even convicted felons still have the right to speak their mind.
Okay.
So you can say, we'll accept this plea, and you can avoid. We'll charge you with something. We'll allow you to plead out to something less than RICO. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We will give you a probated sentence, and that probated sentence lasts so long as you do not run for public office again.
Mm-hmm. And he can't be involved with any PACs.
No, he can't do that.
Huh? Okay, well, let me say that. Okay, well, here's the deal. He's just going to have to go to jail. Because what I'm talking about is, maybe they're going to have to create, which is possible, a supermax for him. Because the other concern that I have is when he goes in, he can't go into general population at all. It's going to have to be an isolated situation where he can't influence, except for guards. And that's possible because there have been situations, you look at Alcatraz and some situations where there have been very few, prisoners within a facility. He's going to have to be in a situation with very few people in almost like a house arrest situation.
Well,
Wouldn't you think?
that's all doable.
Yeah.
I think the in the state of Georgia, the Georgia penal system could accommodate a former president of the United States of America and any Secret Service agent who has to be there to because they are duty bound, sworn to protect their former presidents, even up until their death.
Yeah.
So that's all doable. I mean, prison is a possibility if he's convicted here in Georgia, and the penal system will figure out a way to incarcerate him and accommodate his unique situation. I mean, they accommodate people with various, medical needs currently today. Anyway,
Okay.
Everybody's not in that general population, so he can be accommodated. I'm trying to now reflect on what was the second part of your question was.
Well, I mean, I know he's not going to go in general population,
Right.
and the Supermax isolated situation. Give him a golf course, okay? Give him a golf course. Give him unlimited supply of hamburgers, burgers, and Twinkies because we know he ain't eating right. So, I'm okay with that. Just get him, just isolate him. I don't know. We'll come back to it. But the other thing I do want to ask you, because we have limited time here, with Fani Willis and the DC judge, you're dealing with two black women. Okay, he's already been striking out at each one. Fani's getting death threats. She's mentioned she's never been called the N-word as many times ever in her life. They're calling her, bitch, you name it. And even the judge in DC, who's also African American, he's taken the similar road on this. And just from your perspective, man, because you write a lot about race, how racially charged is this going to be, with Fulton County being a majority black county in Atlanta, close to Atlanta, the proximity of Atlanta? Two black women, especially, DC, Chocolate City, two black women. He's already complaining about the fact that he can't get a fair trial in either one. How racially charged do you think this thing is going to get?
It will probably reach 100 on the Richter scale. This is going to be a very, very heated community for the next year or so until this case is finally comes to trial and is put to bed.
Okay.
The racial tensions are going to be heightened. I now remember the other part of that question. Was it be David Kirsch-ish?
Yeah.
And possibly at the end of the trial, if there is a conviction of Donald Trump, I think we could expect for his supporters to act similarly as they acted on January the 6th on the federal Capitol ground.
And I guess the question would be, is he going to go out without a fight?
No, he's going to, his DNA says he will fight to the finish.
To his death?
Yeah.
Wow. The other thing, and I'll, and I do want you to just kind of close it out for us and give us some more insight, maybe your prediction of where you think this is going to go. But I do want to mention one of the things, and a few folks may not know that Roy Cohn was Trump's mentor. He was the family attorney, am I correct, in New York?
Right.
He taught him a lot of the tactics he's using now. One of the tactics was using the National Enquirer and digging up dirt on people. He's already started using some of that, or attempting to do that, with Fani Willis in Atlanta, saying that she was connected to a former gang leader or, a drug dealer. How messy do you think his usage, because I think he's using it against the Republicans. I think he's using those tactics to dig up dirt on his party members to keep their loyalty. How dirty do you think he's going to get from that standpoint, digging up dirt on and are they going to let him get away with it? Can they continue? Because I think that steps over that's above the pale.
Well, you know, in Fonnie Willis and Judge Chunkin in Washington D.C.,
Mm-hmm.
Donald John Trump has met his match. I mean, you just do not mess around with black women because they're very tenacious. You know, Donald John Trump may have had Roy Cohn to teach him some things, but you know, Fonnie Willis worked under Wayne Kendall, one of the most persnicketous black lawyers in the state of Georgia.
Yeah, no Wayne.
She
No.
learned some good things and she learned some bad things. So he is in for a dogfight. Trump is in for a dogfight. He don't know that he just tore into somebody who will not back down from him and will fight him toe to toe. She'll go on the mat and she will fight toe to toe until she claimed the victory that she's seeking.
Good.
So I think it's going to take care of itself. He just don't know the trouble he's in Georgia and the trouble he's in D.C. messing around with these black women. So they don't mess around.
Yeah.
I've been married 45 years, and I'm telling you, to a black woman, and they don't mess around.
Hell hath no fury 3 times.
3 times, maybe 5. You just have to be careful.
All right, man. Harold Michael Harvey, close us out, man. Give us some either some hope or some concern as we move forward.
Well, I mean, you know, this is as I said, we're in some rarefied historical air.
Mm-hmm.
It was never happened. So in that sense, it's a sad day in America today. But you know, the wheels of justice are turning, and I think at the end of this process, both here in Georgia and also in the District of Columbia, and also down in Florida, that justice is going to prevail, and our democracy is going to be saved. And then, to me, the lesson that we shall learn from all this is that people should find persons of good character and integrity to vote for. It's one thing to say that, you know, I like his policies, but I don't necessarily like the type of person he is or things he does. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a reason why in the past, you know, we put honesty and integrity above slime balls. And that is because, you know, you can count on a person of integrity and honesty to make decisions that's in the best interest of the common good. You know, so we've gotten away from that. And I hope that at the end of this process, that the American public will get away from this partisan politics and begin to vote for people with integrity and honesty. And because if you do that, you'll always find a fine man or woman in an office who will make decisions that's in the best interest of the country or the state or wherever we are.
Excellent,
so,
good stuff.
Keep the faith, because it's been a long justice is a long process, as I began with. But I think in the end, justice will prevail.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you again, Harold Michael Harvey. Go to haroldmichaelharvey.com. Find all things Harold Michael Harvey, and definitely count on us. Can I count on you to come back for any major updates and do a little bonus every so often? And it seems like every so often is going to be happening quite a bit with what I'm hearing so far.
Whenever there's some breaking news on this issue, I'll be glad to come back and talk to your public.
Hey, there you go. You heard it. You committed. Thank you so much. HMH, Harold Michael Harvey, thank you so much, sir. Go to castropolis.net. Love your feedback. Hit us on the People poll. You see the big orange button. Hit that. You can leave it on your smartphone. You can do it on your computer, wherever you have a microphone. And with that, special bonus episode for episode 188 is in the can. Thank you again, Harold Michael Harvey. To all y'all who are checking us out, don't forget we've got a full episode 188 still on demand. Check it out. But peace and power to the people. Y'all have a great day. Have a great week.
You've been listening to the G Podcast with your host, Tommy B. The G Podcast is a production of the Castropolis Podcast Network. Thanks for listening.
It's Roy, Chip, Anthony, y'all ready? Southern Soul.
Do you want to hang out with the hottest Southern Soul star in the country? Well, here's your chance to win a meet and hang with Roy, Chip, Anthony in Charleston. You'll get to enjoy a luxurious 5-star hotel stay Labor Day weekend, 2 concert tickets with all-access passes, and transportation to and from the event. Plus, you'll get to choose between a round-trip plane ticket or a $500 gift card. To register, all you have to do is follow at least 3 of Roy, Chip, Anthony's social media accounts and email a screenshot to mohitsweepstakes@gmail.com. That's mohitsweepstakes@gmail.com. Don't wait. Register today and get ready for the best weekend of your life. Labor Day weekend. We'll see you in Charleston with Roy, Chip, Anthony.